All right, next item. Section 6. Item D, Ad Hoc Project Review. Vice Chair Fleming will be leading this. The purpose is to review the City Council approved work plan and the Ad Hoc Committee timelines and topics. And Sabrina will be speaking to, among all of us, best practices for working with the city staff. I'll just ask folks to recall that staffing was one of the key issues in the city manager's review, and interacting and working proactively and effectively with the city. You're awesome to work with. We really, really appreciate everything. You know how committed we are to having this all work. But ideas that actually where the rubber meets the road are the key here in this conversation.
Can we start reserve because of the time?
Yes, I think let Jonathan put the work plan up, just so we see it.
If you open you can either open up that Excel or you can open up that PowerPoint. They both have them.
Can you speak for like 2 minutes and then Sabrina can talk?
Yeah, we can do this pretty quickly.
Great. Not to stifle you, Sabrina, but
So while she's
I don't have that much to add, so go ahead.
while she's doing that, we'll just get into it a little bit. We all know at the last meeting that we had, we approved not only a work plan, but we also approved the formation of many different ad hocs. And so those ad hocs are ready to go. So on the date of sunrise, they're free to take off. So that's essentially what this PowerPoint is going to show us here. It says that on August 9th, 2017, Commission approved exactly what I just said. The Rules Committee approved it on August 23rd. All items were approved with the exception of the impact of supportive housing on neighborhoods, which we've already discussed at length. And like I said, ad hocs are free to start. So we'll go to the next slide. We have one standing committee. Next slide. That's the Measure B sales tax oversight. We'll get into the details of these later on. I don't think we need to look at this right now. We have ad hocs on the next slide. We have a bylaws ad hoc. We have, next slide, a caucus process. Next slide is fostering neighborhood associations. The next slide, we have champions, which are illegal fireworks, sales tax increase strategies, and we have participatory budgeting. So we can go back to, and there's one more, the annual budget evaluation letter.
Sorry.
So we'll go back to those slides as we go through and want to discuss and say when they begin and talk about the members and everything else, but that's essentially the gist of it. That's what we did. So in terms of ad hocs and creating everything, we're done. Now we just have to get the work done. So with that, Sabrina, you can take it.
Sorry, that was the slide I skipped over. And I keep hitting down instead of back, so that's what's happening. So one thing I did want to point out in the slideshow is that Jonathan put here in the standing committee. Let's start with that. The standing committee, the approval, the reason it had to go to the Rules Committee was because this now means that there's additional staff time officially required every single time this body meets. It's a subcommittee, so it means that it is less than the quorum size of this commission that meets. But every time you guys meet, you need an agenda. It needs to be posted according to Brown Act. It needs to follow Robert's Rules of Orders, and there are minutes that are required after every single meeting. So Commissioners Carter, Giamona, Hernandez, Lebowski, Chair Cunningham, you guys need to communicate this with me, and this meeting cannot happen unless we have posted and figured out a public meeting space that the public can attend. So that means this runs the same way every single time we create a neighborhoods commission meeting. This has to run exactly the same format. So it needs to go to, the agenda needs to go to the city attorney's office. It needs to be posted 10 days ahead of time. You need to work on this agenda at least 2 weeks before it goes together. We can work on this. It's not as much work as you think it is, I promise.
I know.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, what you just said is all fine, and I don't have any issue with it. I need a communication from you detailing all that information, and I need it as soon as I can get it.
Absolutely. I can do that.
And remember, we're in the questions and everything. We're going to get the public comment right after her presentation here, and then we'll have our big discussion afterwards. So try to keep that in mind.
To follow up on that, that means we can have no informal meetings or discussions at all. Is that correct?
You can have informal meetings and discussions as long as it never violates the Brown Act.
Well, for example, I was hoping to talk to some of the committee members tonight after this meeting, just general discussion about how we would get together, scheduling and things like that.
You can, let me think about this. If you're not talking content, you can talk about scheduling. You guys can talk about that, but you can't talk about the content. That has to be publicly available.
There's some logistical details that,
Yeah,
you know,
logistics-
everybody's got different schedules. for
Logistics you guys
working
can talk about,
and,
yeah.
You know, so if we schedule a standing committee meeting just to see when we can meet to have meetings, I mean, that's kind of a waste of time and resources.
No. You guys can talk about logistics now, offline, anytime.
Okay.
Sabrina, would it be that they can't violate a quorum of that standing committee? So if there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, they can't have more than 3 people in one of their,
No, because they're not
Meeting.
talking about content. They're only talking about logistics.
Okay. But otherwise they could talk about content as long as it's not 3 people?
As long as it's no more than 3, if it's 3 people or fewer, is what you're saying?
2 or fewer, because there's 5.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
No, what did you just?
that was more than, he asked more than you asked.
Yeah.
Commissioner Fleming asked more than you asked.
So you're
Commissioner
allowed to talk
Cunningham.
about whatever you need to talk about as long as you don't violate the Brown Act, which in this case, since you have 5 members, you can't talk about something with more than one other person.
You can't talk about
Unless it's in
content
public
with more
forum.
than one other person. You can talk about logistics with anyone and everyone.
Yes.
Good.
Regarding the ad hoc committees in general, the Sunshine and Sunset are here on every single one, so it's a nice reminder. The caucus process is not starting until, the caucus process and the, just the caucus process, I guess, is not starting until November. However, the bylaws can start tomorrow, as well as fostering neighborhood associations. Best practice on this is not a standing committee. You guys can meet informally as long as it's still in a public place where other people, if they wanted to, could come and listen to you. But coffee shops are fine. It doesn't have to be at the city. I don't have to agendize it. You don't have to agendize it. It doesn't have to go through all of that stuff. However, because I feel that this commission has been under scrutiny, I would request that you guys let me know when you're going to have meetings, and I will try to attend them as best as I can. I hope to eventually be able to back off on that and just let you guys have meetings and report in like you should, because it's an ad hoc. But right now at the beginning, I am going to request that so that if anyone asks me any questions, council members or staff of council members or other departments, I can give them an update and not have to wait. Who's the other? Oh, he's not here.
So the action then would be to email you when they're meeting and work out with you that you can be there at some public place, ideally close to where you work?
At least for the first meeting, if I can be there, but I will make myself very, very available. I'm very flexible for that. So I hope it's not at all an inconvenience to include me.
It's easy.
Yeah, I'm looking at you because the other chair is not here, so. Okay, good. Huh? The chair of the other ad hoc.
Okay. All right.
The caucus. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Yeah, either one of you are both over there. So is that okay with you?
Yes. That's fine.
Okay, good.
Anything else, Sabrina? Do you have
So
any,
let's go to public comment.
can I?
She can ask a question.
Yeah, okay. Technical question. Sorry.
No, seriously, from this standpoint, is it questions and then public comment?
Yes, so it would be a technical question, and then it would be public comment, and then it would be an overall discussion with the group.
Okay, so it's a technical question.
Okay.
So Sabrina, describe for us like the tone or the, what is the best way we can work with you? I know working with you, advance notice is really helpful, even though it seems super timely to me. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know it either, so it came to you. I know that cohesive, short comments are really helpful. Like, can you give us some guidance on what you'd like to see?
Okay, with regards to email communication, as soon as you can possibly get me stuff in advance, the better, just because I do have other responsibilities. As much as I may try to be flexible, if you guys give me like a week's notice, I'm pretty sure I can make a meeting. You give me like a day's notice, that's less likely. Regarding the content, if you have questions, by all means, please send them to me. Make them as specific as possible. I would also request, if you are sending me anything remotely complicated or that might require follow-up, please also provide me the best way to talk to you on the phone, because sometimes I require clarification of what it is you're asking of me, and I need to be able to get to you soon. in order to be able to ask it to whatever department or whatever, and then get back to you with an answer quickly.
And then one question, emails, you prefer us using the official email? So,
The commissioner,
yeah.
I honestly don't remember, it doesn't really honestly matter to me. I think for the sake of you guys keeping things clear for the attorney's office, it would be better if you emailed NC staff. Yeah. But they're both open all the time on my thing. I look at them constantly, so it doesn't matter.
Great, thank you very much.
If there's no other questions, we'll move to public comment.
Ed Rast.
Oh,
This is-
I'm sorry.
Oh, excuse me.
Sorry, Ed. Jumping the gun. So no other public comments. Now we can go into discussion, debate, anything else? From our body, nothing?